Bugler, sound assembly.
Cavalry, the thunderous force that once dominated Europe's battlefields. From ancient horsemen to the chivalrous knights of the Middle Ages, their story is one of power, innovation, and some epic fails. Welcome to the entertaining history of European cavalry.
For the king. For the king!
The roots of European cavalry go back to ancient Rome. While Roman legions were famous for their disciplined infantry, they also relied on cavalry for scouting, flanking, and chasing down retreating enemies. Roman horsemen were organized into units called equites, and while they weren't the stars of the show, they played a critical supporting role. The roots of their techniques weren't entirely Roman either. They borrowed heavily from their enemies, like the Parthians, whose mastery of mounted archery left a lasting impression. These lessons laid the foundation for what cavalry would become. Fast forward to medieval Europe, and cavalry evolved into something far more iconic: the knight. These heavily armored warriors were the ultimate status symbol and the backbone of feudal armies. Becoming a knight wasn't easy. It required years of training, starting as a page, then a squire, before finally earning their spurs. Knights trained extensively in mounted combat, mastering techniques with the lance, sword, and shield. Tournaments weren't just for fun. They were grueling displays of skill and preparation for real battles. And beyond warfare, knights represented ideals of chivalry, emphasizing loyalty, honor, and of course, a bit of romantic flair. These warriors became legends, inspiring tales of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Cavalry wasn't just about brute strength. It relied heavily on strategy and discipline. In battles like Hastings in 1066, Norman cavalry turned the tide with disciplined charges and feigned retreats, breaking the Anglo-Saxon shield wall. But terrain played a critical role. Battles on muddy fields or narrow passes often rendered cavalry useless. And at Agincourt, longbowmen proved that even the mightiest knights could fall under a storm of arrows. Knights weren't only warriors. They were landowners, politicians, and sometimes even tax collectors. Their horses became symbols of status. Owning a destrier, a war horse bred for strength and endurance, was akin to owning a luxury car today. These horses were incredibly valuable and required dedicated training to carry armored knights into battle. Outside of war, knights also showcased their skills in jousts and tournaments, which became grand spectacles of wealth, power, and bravery. These events were the medieval equivalent of high-stakes sports competitions. By the late Middle Ages, cavalry faced new challenges. Gunpowder weapons began to dominate battlefields, and muskets and cannons made traditional cavalry charges increasingly dangerous. However, cavalry adapted, often serving as scouts or light skirmishers supporting infantry formations. Even in the Napoleonic Wars, cavalry units played a vital role. They were used for reconnaissance, flanking maneuvers, and decisive charges. Battles like Waterloo still featured dramatic cavalry actions, but their role was diminishing. The end came with World War I, where cavalry found itself up against machine guns, barbed wire, and trenches. While horses still served in logistical roles, the days of the mounted charge were over. The legacy of cavalry, however, lives on in modern armored divisions, which continue to embody their speed and power. From Roman horsemen to the chivalrous knights of medieval Europe, the story of cavalry is one of innovation, evolution, and enduring impact on military history. Let me know in the comments what you think about cavalry, overrated or underrated. Leave a like and share. See you next time.
They're deploying to charge. See for yourself, Your Highness.